I was wanting to make this video in lieu of what happened today. I was, well, I'll just start from the beginning. I'm training for a trucking school. I'm not going to say which one, but I'm training for a trucking school, and um, I've already gone through the first phase of my training and got my CDL, my TWIC card, got my hard copy and everything. Uh, but, things kind of took a turn for the worse, I guess. And so, during the first phase of my training, everything went pretty smooth. Um, then we went back to the terminal and practiced for the test, and I that was actually on my last video. Um, I just gotten off the road from 3 weeks of training, and was in a hotel, and so anyways, I got the test on the first try. Um, After doing backing exercises and stuff like that, and so I got that, and after about a week and a half, I took some home time. I'm from Texas, and um so I was told that probably 5 days I'd have home time. I'm like, cool, that's great. you know um so it was coming up to the seventh day that I had taken home time, and I'm thinking, you know what? My wife and I were both thinking the same thing. It's just I got to get out there and make a little more money. We're we need money. And that's the reason why I'm doing this training and ultimately getting in my own truck and getting my experience and um, fulfilling my commitment to the school, and then finding something local. I've heard so many people with that same idea, and it's not uncommon. You didn't think of it first, which I was thinking, um, you know, everyone else is going out there to go on the road, stuff like that. Because I'd gone to a previous school, um, and everyone else was talking about how I'm gonna make big bucks, and I'm gonna get all my endorsements, and just haul the truck around the U.S. And that was actually trucking school in Dallas. I'm in another state now. Um, but yeah, so many people have come to the school with the same idea of uh, you know I need this experience. I need to fulfill my commitment to the company, and find something else that's nearby. I can be home every day or every weekend, whatever, and still make good money. With 1 year of on the road training, you can potentially do that. So, anyways, so I got my CDL, got my TWIC card, got some home time, and then when it came time to 7 days passing, I called the fleet manager, for the trainer of my truck, or the trainer on this truck that I was on. I was like, hey, so about how much time, ahead of time are y'all gonna let me know that I'm actually gonna get back on the truck? And he's like, well, we'll let you know, and it'll be enough time, ahead of time. It won't be like, well, you got to be here in 30 minutes, hurry up. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. It'll be, some hours time, you know, and, so, 7 days since I made it home, got off the truck, and, um, I found out, okay, so 7 days, I'm gonna get back on the truck. I talked to the fleet manager. He called me and said, hey, need you to call me, we need to talk. And I was like, okay. So I called, and he was like, hey, hold on just a second. I'm gonna get your trainer on the phone. And so, we had like a three-way conversation, and my trainer was basically, um, you know, saying that, that I uh, I kind of stunk as a driver. And I know, I'm a trainer, or like, I'm a student, he's a trainer. There's going to be some mistakes that you make out on the road. You're not going to get your CDL, and then all of a sudden you're a certified professional driver by law, but you don't have experience, and you're not a professional driver. And so he said, well, one thing in particular I want to talk to y'all about is, and this is the fleet manager speaking, he said, is, when, you get the truck stuck in a parking lot. And I did. And this is what happened. We were driving through Dallas because I live in Texas. And that's the day that I got off the truck to take home time. So, um, so we were driving through Dallas, and I missed my turn. It's not uncommon. It happens. Plus I'm not real experienced in, driving the truck, and, my trainer wants me to rely solely on the GPS. And so I was trying to do that. And I don't like doing that, because when I follow the um, GPS can be misleading, in a few ways. So I missed my turn, you know. So he's like, okay, so we got to find a place to turn around. So um, I kept on driving, and he was like, okay, come over here. We're gonna turn here and uh, turn it around. I was like, okay, and I got in a turn lane, and he was like, no, 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 it's probably best that we get back in that lane. By this time, I'm already stopped in the turn lane. And so I'm thinking, well, that's probably less than ideal to go from a complete stop in the turn lane to get back in to the other lane. And so he's like, you know what, you won't make that curb. I'm looking like this. Like, all right, you you mean that curb? He said, yeah, you won't make that curb. I'm looking at it like, well, you know, I know I can, you know, and I did. But, he said, well, you're the driver. You figure it out. So he gave me that judgment call. So I took the judgment call. I made my own judgment and turned into there. Neither he nor I knew that that was a parking lot. So we're going through this straightaway, this road, and he said, oh, you got to turn here, turn right, turn right. It's a parking lot. I was like, okay, so I turn in there, and I'm trying to make those turns the best I can. But there was just no possible way I could have made it through there without hopping some curbs. So I start going over a curb. He said, "Stop." So I stopped. He said, "Are you watching your mirrors?" I said, "Yeah, I'm watching my mirrors. I'm looking at my tires." He said, "So you know then that you're going over a curb?" I said, "Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not what I want to do, but I mean, I don't have a choice. If I back it out, I'm going back. So he said, "All right, you got us in here. You get us out." Like, okay, give me another judgment call. So I go forward a little bit more. He said, "Watch your tires." Okay. He said, "Stop." I stopped. He said, "You're going to pop those tires on those curbs." Like, what other choice do I have? In my head, and I've talked to other professional drivers that work for this company, and they're like, "No, you will not pop those tires on the curb. I do it all the time, and they don't pop." You know, and he's like, "What?" He's told me this before. He's like, "You got 80,000 pounds on those tires, and like you're holding a full load, almost 80,000 pounds, and that's gonna pop the tires." But I went ahead and went through it anyways. What other choice do I have? You know. So we get in there, and I'm getting around these little curvy areas in the middle of the parking lot, and I'm getting all the way to the back where the exit is. And so, you know, I had to stop, analyze the situation, figure out how I'm gonna have to, get through there. I'm looking at it, and in my head, there's no easy way of doing it. I'm not experienced. I've never been in a situation before, and um, so he said it again. This is the third time he said it. He said, "Well, you got us in here. You're going to have to get us out." Okay. So I try to get us out, and I'm looking over in my mirror like this, and I'm about to go over a curb. Crap. So, I kind of maneuver through it, looking at my mirror, looking over here. You know, they're gonna rub, possibly go up on the curb. And, um, so he said, "Stop." He said, "I'm getting out. I'm watching you from out here. You're about to pop those tires." I'm like, "Okay, what do I do?" He said, "Well, get out and look." All right. This is kind of a humbling situation for me, you know? So I get out and I look, and I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna have to back it out, get it out of this situation." He said, "Okay, be watching your mirrors. If you have to, get out and look." You know, so I'm backing it up, and he decided he's gonna guide me out, which makes sense, but I guess he didn't want to do it. Um, so I get it all the way out. He said, "Okay, from here, what should you do?" I'm like, looking at it like, this is bleak. I don't know what to do. So what I said was, "Well, I need to hug this outside curb, and maybe the trailer tires will not touch that curb over there on the left or on the inside." So he said, "Okay, go do it." So I'm doing it, and it's not working, you know. So right about now, he's turning red in the face. You can tell he's pissed off. So I'm like, dang, you know. So he said, "I'm gonna get us out of this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna I'm going to slide the tandems all the way forward, which is stupid because we should never be in this situation. And he's like, I'm going to drive us out of here, which is stupid because we should not be in this situation. I should not have to do this, but I'm going to do it. So, okay. That's humbling. Okay. That's what he was going for. Shouldn't have given me those judgment calls, you know. And he should have told me how to get out, you know, because it's like 4 in the morning. It's dark. Neither one of us knew what it was. Um, you know, we should be getting out of there as soon as possible before people start showing up, before the cops show up, something. So he gets us out. We have to slide the tandems back again. And so we're going down, he gets down on the road, puts on the four ways, and says, all right, now you're going to drive us to the shipper or to the receiver. So, okay, I'm driving to the receiver. The tandems are not in the 11th hole. They're like in the 13th hole, which made it a little harder to make turns. So we're about to turn into the receiver. We get in there, we find our door number, and he said, we're passing by the door number, we're coming up to it. He said, well, you should probably park over here, because it was nearby the door number. So I was like, I'm looking at that like, the tandems aren't right. Having a stressful experience so far, today. In my head, I'm thinking this. I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be those, does it? So he gets real quiet, doesn't respond. And so that just leaves me to make another judgment call. I have to park in the sticky situation spot, or move over to an easier spot where there's less stress. So I chose the less stress. So this guy comes out, and as I'm, doing my maneuver, guy comes out and starts pointing over there in the area. So I'm like, okay, well, the guy's saying to park over there. My trainer's like, that's what I tried to tell you, but you don't listen to me at all. So I'm like, you know what? This is for the birds. I want to get another trainer, So, so I park it. I go over there to the harder place, and this other guy moves. He was parked in the shipping dock, shipping receiving dock area that was empty, which you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to just park long ways in several spots where people could be pulling in. But he was just going there because he was lazy. Either that or he had some stupid experience like me. So I get over there. It took me a little while because I'm a student. I don't have a lot of backing experience. I'm trying to get in there, finally get in there. And then all of a sudden, he's normal. He calmed down. Okay, cool. So we're walking in there and stuff. Then we walk back out. And, so he, we are about to pull into our dock number, and which the dock number changed. And excuse me, I'm pouring some coffee. But the dock number changed and everything, and so anyways, I backed into the dock, and everything was good from there. My wife came and picked me up while I was there, and I took my home time. So that's what he was talking about when he said, I want to talk about one thing in particular, which is getting stuck in the parking lot. And I told him, I would have never made that judgment call had it not been for him saying, uh, you're the driver, you figure it out. Fleet manager was like, is that true? He was talking to my trainer, ex-trainer, and he said, no, I said that after he got in there. Which I came back and said, well, you did say it after, but you also said it before. And he denied that. And so I'm trying to take one for the team. And I was like, just kind of bit my lip. And then the fleet manager was like, well, while you're on his truck, he's a lease operator. You kind of got to abide by his rules. When he says don't do something, you don't do it. He was being nice about it, but the way I'm saying it, it's not the way he said it. But he said, he knows those areas, and um, even if he didn't know the area, he knows, what he's looking at and stuff and I just kind of bit my lip and didn't say anything. So, you know, that day, I was supposed to get back on his truck, and I was supposed to be, they're supposed to let me know when I was supposed to go out to the place that he's at. Excuse me. So, um, yeah, so he sent me a message on Facebook, and he said, hey, did the fleet manager talk to you? Or did he call you back? I said, no. He said, well, they're making me take home time. And that's the way he said it in the text. He said, well, they're making me take home time back at the terminal. And the latest I can leave is Sunday. It's Wednesday. I need to get out there and make some money. So I was like, this doesn't sound right. I told him, I was like, this doesn't sound right. I'm gonna call the fleet manager and see if I can get on a Greyhound or something. Instead of him having to go back to another state, go to the terminal, um, go to the terminal and you know, to take home time, come back to Texas, pick me up, go pick up my hard copy and my TWIC card, go back to Texas and transfer my license. And it wouldn't make any sense to make all those extra trips when he's told me countless times how he hates Texas. And I was like, it would make more sense to save the time and just um, just go with you. And so I was just like, I'm gonna call the fleet manager. I called the fleet manager, and he was like, yeah, so Ryan wanted to take a 34-hour reset here at the terminal. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, they're making him do home time. But he just told me he's choosing to take a 34-hour reset. And so what that leads me to believe is that he didn't want to pay me a salary for that. For getting on his truck, he wanted a little more time away. So he had some business to take care of, I guess. So, um, so they, he said, well, do you want to get back on the truck? I said, well, yeah, I gotta make some money. I'm not, you know, I'm not I'm not making any money. I need to make money. That's why I'm doing this. He said, okay, all right. Well, I said, well, that's not gonna it's not gonna tick him off. I'm not gonna make him angry about doing that, am I? He said, no, no, no. Um, but constantly ever since I got my CDL, the dude's been talking about going to different companies. He's been talking about how much money he's losing, and once his business account drops to a certain amount, he's going to turn in his keys if he doesn't start getting better loads. And, you know, so basically, whenever I got back on his truck, um, everything was cool. He apparently, um, like it was kind of relaxing for him not having somebody else on the truck, which I guess I can kind of understand that. We've been spending the last like month and a half together in the same truck, and I'm sure he wanted a break. That's fine. A week break is long enough. I need to make money. So, anyhow, um, I I got on the truck. We did a couple loads. Got back to the terminal, and then you know he got me into a hotel for 2 nights, and uh, we were supposed to leave today, but you know, I told him before, I was like, just let me know when you get the trailer, so that I can get on the truck. And he said he got it around 1 o'clock, and 1 o'clock he sent me like well, what he said was 13:08, which is 24-hour clock. 1 o'clock p.m. is 1300. That's the way it works, military time. So that's the way he speaks. And so I was like, really? I got a text message at 3:08, and which is 15:08. And he said, well, I don't know why it took so long for you to get that message. Not once did he offer to show his phone to provide proof that he sent it at 1:08. Ever since I said that, he got this real stern look on his face like, oh, you know, and, so we're in the truck, and, oh, I had actually skipped a part. He, uh, he told me, hey, we need to get on the truck. We need to leave at 11, and you're going to drive us out. I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to get something to eat, then I'm going to get on the truck. So I got something to eat, just like I said. I was going out to get on the truck, and as soon as I open up the passenger door, there's all this trash that he left for me to pick up. He put it there strategically because that's the door that I would be coming in. And apparently, he wanted me to pick up his trash, which I haven't been on the truck for, almost 2 days. And he wants me to pick up the trash. So I'm like, you know what? With his lying, he's like a pathological liar, I would say, because he's constantly talking about his towing business that he owns, and um, he owns two repossession companies, and it's just like, man, okay, talking about how you're just, losing so much money and you're broke. And he's also talking about how well off they are and how they give $500 bonuses to uh, their drivers that keep the trucks clean and stuff like that. And, there's just some things where you're in a situation, somebody's talking to you, and you're like, I'm sorry, but that's not true. Please tell me something true. I want some true experiences, something that actually sounds believable, you know, and so, he's lied about a number of other things, and I've caught him in it, and then he gets real quiet, you know. He sent the text message at 3:08. It was not 13:08, it was 15:08. Um, and whenever I get in there, I get the trash, I take it to a dumpster that's at a faraway building, and then I walk into the building because there's other drivers there, other trainers, and I want to get advice on whether I should get off the truck and how to do it. So I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, well, talk to this person, or you could just talk to your trainer and confront him on some things. And, I've confronted him on a few things, and, he's constantly trying to have the upper hand. He will not admit to anything, and it's frustrating. So I'm thinking, well, crap, I'm going to have to call some of the higher ups, take it over his head, and get off his truck. That's going to make him look bad and possibly me look bad. So I'm thinking, you know, taking that trash, having to walk it from the truck, something that he should have been doing. And there was just boxes of just food. He uh, he had eaten for probably lunch and dinner, the last couple of days, and I had nothing to do with it. You know, there was cans, or not cans, but bottles, soda bottles, stuff like that. And I'm like, well, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. And I just I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I got a wife and kids at home, and I need to make money. I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I don't know how much more of this I can take, but you know, um, I'm gonna do it. I get in the truck, I'm getting situated, I'm about to go to sleep. He calls me. He says, "Hey, where are you?" I said, "Well, where are you?" And he said, "Well, I'm at the truck." I said, "Well, I'm in the truck." He said, "Okay, I'll be right there in just a minute. There's something we need to talk about." Okay. So I hung up, and maybe about 2 minutes later, and apparently he said he was at the truck. Apparently he was walking to the truck, but it was like a 2-minute walk. Um, so he lied about something else. Anyways, um, so yeah, he got in and he said, "How are we going to make it to to drive out of here at 11 o'clock if we don't have enough rest? You're going to drive fatigued, and you're not. We're not going to drive fatigued. How are we going to do this?" He said, "If we're going to drive out, and if you mess up one more time, you're coming right back over here." I said, "Well, hold on. You called me. It was like an hour ago, hour and a half ago. No, it was about an hour and a half ago. Sent the text message at 3:08. he called at 3:36. Then, which I don't find that a coincidence at all, that he sent it at 3:08 and then like almost 30 minutes later calls me and then says he sent it at 1:08. Just sidetracking, I guess. But um yeah, so I looked at my phone. I was like, well, I remember getting a text message. And while we were talking, I said, well, hold on. I'm gonna look at my phone. I looked at it, it said 3:08. And I said, well, look right here. It says 3:08. He said, well, I don't know why you're getting text messages so late. But it's no coincidence that I get it at 3:08 and then 28 minutes later he calls me. So after he called me, I told you I got something to eat, and then then I went to the truck, and then he left all that trash right there for me to pick up, and took it right back to the terminal building, and spent maybe 30 more minutes talking to somebody about the situation. I'm going to be driving fatigue. And you said if I mess up one more time, I'm going to come back here. And that mess up could be anything. Maybe I just need to get off your truck. And then he just looks at me. His eyes got a little bigger. And he said, you want to get off the truck? I said, yeah. And so he was like, okay. All right, I'll make the phone call. So he called the appropriate people. And I started getting my stuff together. I put my key in his seat. And I looked at the Qualcomm. I wasn't even logged on to his truck. He logged me off. And I saw that because there's an app. I see all the activity, the messages, the loads. And it showed that I was off the truck yesterday. So, yesterday is when he started the 34-hour reset. So, anyway, so he took me to a place where, they would pay for my hotel room. And they're like, well, this is full because we got students. Got to take you to this other place. And, that's where I am now. And I have to say that I think it's a good thing. I got away from that mess. There are some good trainers and there are some bad trainers, and I think it was a bad one. I was his first student, during the first phase of training, and it was done. Anyways, so I'm here in the hotel room after this whole 39-minute spiel. So hopefully tomorrow I'll get with another trainer. Hopefully it's good. But there are some things that you need to look at as far as trainers are concerned. That'll be in my next video. Y'all take it easy and be safe.